event, and I believe the two speakers will do a very good job in presenting a very useful information for all of us to get to wherever we want to get in the world. First of all, I would like to appreciate the engineer for today. In fact, I can see his face is actually looking so sumptuous. The last time I saw him, he was like, okay, now he's looking, you can see the cheek. Yeah, in fact, I really appreciate seeing you. And the Korean speaker also, I really appreciate you all. So please sit down, relax, and enjoy the presentation. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So over to you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see your screen.
Okay. Let me put it in presentation mode. Let's just go like this. Okay. So I want to thank the organizers of this program for giving me this opportunity to lend my voice on this wonderful platform. Thank you very much. So today I'm going to be talking about forms of graduate study scholarship in the UK and how you could also get a place. So I don't want to waste much time. I just prepared some few PowerPoints. So I will leave a space more for questions than for the actual presentations, but we'll try to cover every necessary details in this PowerPoint. So just in case you don't understand, as I go on, you can just jot down your questions so that after the whole program, you can ask those questions. So let me start from what is actually scholarship. I don't think this is a new topic to us all because I know most people joining are actually on a scholarship. So, but for people who doesn't quite grab the idea of a scholarship, so I just put the basic definition of a scholarship here. So a scholarship is just a grant of financial aid awarded to a student as for the purpose of attending a college. So that's just the short definition and the basic definition of a scholarship. Okay, so let's get into it. In the United Kingdom as a whole, we have different forms of forms of scholarship, like we also have in other parts of other countries in the world. So here I'm going to be focusing on master's scholarship and PhD scholarship. Now we have both master's scholarship and PhD scholarship here. It will be updated in my little diagram. In my line of field, I think we communicate well just using diagrams. So just try to go on with it. So now we have both master scholarship and PhD scholarship, and both of these scholarship can either be university scholarship or organization stroke government scholarship. Now both these scholarship can either be partially funded or fully funded. Now, the fully funded scholarship are usually offered by maybe some universities in the UK, organizations like MasterCard, and maybe government bodies like Chevening, Erasmus, and Commonwealth. Why for the partially funded scholarship? Maybe most universities in the UK actually offers partially funded, but to get a fully funded scholarship in the UK, you have to go to some universities actually offer fully funded, which is not so common, but it actually happens. But organizations like MasterCard and government bodies like Erasmus and Chevening and Commonwealth, they actually do offer fully funded scholarship. So let me move on to the next. Okay, here I just give a brief overall of what you actually need to know about university and organization scholarship. So from university scholarship, it's actually always available. And like I put here, some universities actually offer maybe 100%, 50% for the tuition fee, while most actually offer less. So for the university scholarship, it doesn't usually come with a stipend for master's students, apart maybe in some very rare cases. But with PhDs, it usually always comes with a stipend. So for the masters, it is not usually competitive, but it is a bit competitive for PhDs. Now, for the organization stroke government scholarship, it's actually always available for masters, but it is rarely available for PhDs. So it actually offers full tuition. It usually comes with stipend, and it is very competitive for both masters and PhD. So I think we can actually see the difference between the university scholarship and organization scholarship here. Okay. So moving on. Now, this is actually the general roadmap to secure a place either in the UK or any country. But since I'm focusing on the UK, I'm going to explain this and in a manner that is going to suit the scholarship in the UK. So before considering getting a scholarship, the first thing you actually need to do is just to get a transcript and certificate. That's very, very important. If you don't have these two documents, I don't think you should be considering applying for a scholarship yet. Or if you have just your certificate without a transcript, I don't think that will work as well, because most universities actually want your transcript. In fact, most universities place emphasis on having a transcript than the actual certificate itself. So the first step you're going to take for getting this scholarship is to get your document ready, which is the transcript and your certificate. The second step is to search advertised scholarship online. There are several websites, although I'm going to get into that in the coming slides. So you have to search advertised scholarship online, and after searching the scholarship, maybe you've seen a scholarship you like that you're going to apply to. Then you need to prepare your research proposal or essay or statement of purpose or CV, get your English proficiency certificate and your reference letter. Now, this is where it becomes tricky. When actually searching for the scholarship, there are some scholarships that will require you to search for a supervisor first, to choose a supervisor first. So in this kind of scholarship, when you've gotten a supervisor, you will submit most of this to your supervisor. Your supervisor is going to check those and we see if this student is actually worthy of this scholarship or not. So if your supervisor checks these documents and deem it fits that is going to take you in, he might set a date for maybe a short interview for you. So if you pass the interview, the supervisor will actually tell you to submit your document to the university. And after submitting your document, he will actually guide you on how you're going to submit your document to the university, because this is actually the big deal in this whole process. So if your supervisor has accepted you, then I don't think you have anything to worry about anymore. So you submit your document to the university, then that's it. You get your place. Now, for the scholarship in which you're not going to get a supervisor first, like maybe applying to organization or scholarship body, like the Chidney, Erasmus, you have to apply to, okay, let's take MasterCard for instance. You have to apply to MasterCard first. After applying to MasterCard, MasterCard will check your documents. Now, MasterCard will advise you to apply to after MasterCard has considered you for the scholarship, you advise you to apply to the university. So you're going to take this route with that, and after that, you secure your place. And for some scholarship, after getting these documents, you apply directly to the university. So after applying directly to the university, it is the university that is actually going to screen you. If they screen you, maybe they see that you're worthy of the scholarship, then you'll be given the scholarship. So with that, you've actually secured your place. So let's take this one by one and go through it. Okay, so like I've discussed before, the first step is for you to prepare documents. Like I've said previously, before applying for any scholarship, you need to get both your certificate and transcript ready. And mind you, like I tell you, transcript is very, very important. Either you're applying for a PhD or you're applying for a master's program, getting your transcript is very. And with one thing I noticed with Nigerian university, okay, talking from Nigerian perspective now, with one thing I noticed with Nigerian university, it's very, very difficult to get this transcript. So if you are planning on getting a scholarship in countries like this, the earlier you get this transcript, the better. Now, the second step, which is search for advertised scholarship. So like written here for university scholarship. So if you're looking for a university scholarship, you can use website like maybe find a phd.com, find a master, if that's for PhD program, you just find a phd.com. For master's program, you can use maybe find a masters.com. You can go to this website called brightscholarship.com, or you can actually use the university website to see if they actually advertise any of their scholarship. The reason why I use most of these websites is because in the UK here, it is very difficult for you to actually see a university that is actually going to advertise like a scholarship on their website. Even if they do, you might not know. But what this website does is that they are going to accumulate scholarships from different universities and put it on their website. So it will be very easy for you to go through this website, see the universities you think will be suitable for you, and apply to that university. So for organization scholarship, you have to search websites like maybe mastercardfoundation.org. So on these websites, you'll be updated on, okay, this website is just for Mastercard scholarship. So on this website, you will be maybe checking this website constantly. You will know when they want to start giving out the scholarship opportunity, how to go about the scholarship opportunity. So you see everything about it on this site. So for government-sponsored scholarship, you need to check maybe a website like Erasmus plus EC Europa. So this is for Erasmus scholarship. And for Chibney scholarship, you have to check maybe chibney.org, and try to see if they're giving out scholarship for that year. So you have to be conversant with all these websites, depending on what type of scholarship you want. So this is one of the most important process during your application stage. It is very, very important. So this is what is going to decide if we are going to get the scholarship or not. When searching for a PhD scholarship or a master scholarship, how you write your documents actually dictates if you're going to get the scholarship or not. Now, for example, writing your CV, you might actually have a lot of experience, things like that, and you still submit this and you might still actually be rejected. So you actually need to understand how this is written, because this is very, very important. So for when applying for PhDs, you need a research proposal. That's very important. Now, for you to write the research proposal, you need to check, because all PhD usually, most universities require you to contact the supervisor first before applying to them. So if you've seen maybe you see an advertised role about maybe artificial intelligence in healthcare, something like that. Now, if you're writing a research proposal, try to check everything about that professor you are writing the research proposal to first. Try to understand him, try to know the kind of research paper he has written. All those is going to be very important for you, so that you know how to tailor your research paper towards the professor's line of interest. Very, very important. So for most scholarship, like Chivney, Erasmus, or maybe Mastercard, you wouldn't write write maybe a proposal for those. What those need is maybe you need to write an essay. That essay is very, very important in that aspect too. In fact, the essay is what is going to determine if they're going to pick you or not. So when writing this, about to write this essay, it is very important to maybe go on LinkedIn or yeah, maybe on LinkedIn. Try to see other scholars that have gotten a scholarship. When you see these scholars, try to maybe have one-on-one discussion with them so that whenever you draft your essay, you can actually submit it for them so that they are going to check it out. They're going to check it, maybe proofread it for you, send it back and something like that so that you will know what you need to correct and what you need to complete. And your CV too, for the scholarship that requires CV, especially if you're a PhD student, your CV must be up to date. And one mistake I did when I was applying for my PhD scholarship here is I did not actually know the difference between academic CV and work CV. They are actually different. For example, if you're applying to maybe work in a company or something like that, the kind of CV you're going to write for that is actually different. Now, if you're applying to do a research in a school, or maybe you want to, applying for a research in a school, the kind of CV you're going to write for that is actually very different too. So you have to know the difference between academic CV. Okay, I call it work CV. Yeah, maybe that's not what you call it, but let's just assume we all know what that is. So know the difference between academic CV and work CV. And you need to tailor your CV to suit the scholarship or course that you're applying for. That is very important. And in some certain cases, some universities will require maybe English proficiency from you, but in the UK, yeah, I think most universities in the UK will require you to write English proficiency. Now, if you're coming for a PhD, English proficiency, it's very good for you to have it. I think it's a must. Sorry, let me check my computer. Okay. So English proficiency is actually a must. You must get it for PhD. Now, for master's students, if you're applying to maybe bodies like Erasmus or Chifney, English proficiency is also a must. But if you're applying for MasterCard, okay, yeah, you need to get your English proficiency, although MasterCard do something that they're going to organize like some English proficiency exam for you to write. So, but you have to get ready for English proficiency. Now, for some universities, if you're applying to directly to maybe some universities, they might give you maybe some benefit of submitting proficiency letter from your university. Actually get this letter, maybe just write to your university, they can provide a proficiency letter from you. So that proficiency letter just indicates that this certain student was taught with English language. So that can vouch for you. But all in all, try to check the requirements of what those universities need to know if they're going to require English proficiency or not. And lastly, on this part, you actually need a reference letter. The university you're applying for, or maybe it's university scholarship or organization scholarship, a reference letter is very, very important. And it is advisable to maybe have some form of relationship with your maybe lecturers, so that they're going to give you this reference. Okay, so for the search for a supervisor, this is actually usually for PhD. So like I've mentioned before, when searching for a supervisor, you have to take time to read their biography and published works. It's very important. So it's going to give you an insight if you be able to work, because one thing that is very important if you're doing PhD is that will you be able to work with a certain supervisor, because that will determine a lot. Sorry. Okay, so your supervisor will actually determine a lot in your progress as a PhD student. Very, very important. So you need to read the biography of that supervisor, try to know his research work. Did it fit with my own or not? So you have to know that. And like I've told you before, make sure your research proposal and CV are tailored to suit their research field. A supervisor is more interested in a student who writes maybe proposal or CV that is something related to his personal research field. And one thing I noticed about maybe UK, maybe if you're applying for PhD students, is that they don't actually, okay, now supervisors are more interested in students who maybe are able to convince them, maybe through their research proposal or CV, that, okay, this kind of research that these students have been doing over the years, if these students come to my lab, the progress will start immediately. So they are more interested in that. So your CV and research proposal are very, very important. So and for organizations, scholarship, so like I wrote here, that some organizations sponsor scholarship, like MasterCard, we require applying through them first. So, but with some like Chidney, you have to apply to both the university and organization simultaneously. So, but Chidney, it is a simultaneous process. As you're applying through to Chidney, you have to apply to the university too. The only downside I see with Chidney is that maybe if Chidney gives you admission, if Chidney considers you for a scholarship and the university doesn't give you admission, I think that's a very big problem. And make sure you read about scholarship to know their requirement and key selection criteria. Before you apply to maybe MasterCard, Chidney, you have to know their key selection criteria. It's very important. For MasterCard, I think MasterCard, when writing their essay, they like maybe students who demonstrate like maybe leadership qualities. If you're applying for their master's, through your essay, you have to show that you've actually demonstrated the leadership qualities before. Maybe when you've actually been involved in a charity program, something like that. It makes them happy, I think. And anything you are going to write on must be recent. So you can't be like the head boy of your class when you're in primary school and be writing in your essay, oh, when I was in primary school, I was the head boy of my class, so. I was a school prefect, nobody cares about that. So everything has to be recent. What are your achievements now? Or maybe a year ago, what are your achievements? So something like that, you have to put them together in your essay. And like I told you before, don't forget, and if you are writing your maybe research proposal, MasterCard for PhD, or writing an essay for MasterCard, you can't get everything right. So you need somebody that will be proofreading and doing stuff like that for you. When I was applying for UK universities here, I have my good friends in Korea that are doing all this for me. So I write the proofread, the correct, I write the proofread, so stuff like that. And like I've discussed before, you have to tailor your CV and essay accordingly. Okay. So for the for those that will apply to the university directly, those ones don't usually require a supervisor, so you can always apply to the university directly. So it's the university that will decide if they are going to pick you or not. So submit all documents as instructed by the. So if you are applying through the organization or through the supervisor, you still have to submit all documents to the universities. But if it is through the supervisor will guide you on how to submit the document to the university. If it is through the organization will also guide you on how to submit your document to the university. And that's it. You secure your place. So for my final note here, like I've written here, that all scholarship require the same amount of efforts. One country scholarship isn't easier than the other. If you're determined to obtain it, you undoubtedly succeed. So when I was applying to this United Kingdom, to some people, they believe maybe Australia scholarship is easier than United Kingdom scholarship. But I couldn't even get Australian scholarship. Oh, I wrote to so many supervisors. It was so difficult. I couldn't get it. Now I got the scholarship. So the whole point is that there's actually no scholarship that is difficult than the other. All scholarships have the same amount of challenges. So there's no one that maybe UK is more difficult than than Korea. Maybe Korea is more difficult than this thing. No, you have the same level of challenges. So it's all that matters is based on your determination. Thank you for listening. So if there's any question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and the person of Engineer Bode Kolawole. Your presentation was actually straightforward, and then you actually hit the nail on the head, right, with some of the scholarships, and really appreciate the fact that you gave us some examples with respect to websites that you can find such opportunities. Some of those websites are www.findthephd.com and www.findthemasters.com. And then the NSAKNU organizers have decided to add 2 more, which is one for the MBA. If you're interested in MBA, you could find MBA opportunities at findanmba.com. And if you're looking for specific UK opportunities, you can as well check jobs.ac.uk. So if you're joining us or you're watching this live from our YouTube channel or from our Facebook page, please, you can start bringing in your questions. And then if you're here with us here in the virtual event, you can as well drop a question in the chat. And if you're someone that likes to talk, you can also ask your question by signifying your answer, then we'll call you up to ask a question. So if you have a question, you post your question in the chat box. One thing I would like to just re-emphasize, you can see our speaker actually mentioned that the importance of having a good CV cannot be overemphasized. So it's really important you have a good CV, and good CV tailored specifically. In fact, some scholarship opportunities will tell you the kind of formats that they want the CVs to be. So some will tell you the Europass format and all of that. So it's important you have your CV in a good shape. So that is why the NSAKNU, in the webinars, we try to make sure we give people the opportunity to get one person to get a chance for the CV to be revamped absolutely for free. And we just don't do that for free. So we actually ask you a question, and then once you answer it correctly, then we give you the chance to get that. So while we're waiting for our questions, please, if you have questions with respect to the presentation, we're still waiting for questions. No hand is up, and also no one has already dropped their questions. So while we're waiting for your questions, then we have a question. During this presentation by the speaker mentioned 3 types of organizational scholarships. So the first person to punch in the 3 types of organizational scholarships in the chat box has the opportunity to win a slot for a free CV revamp, courtesy of NSAKNU, that is Nigerian Student Association here in Kempuk National University. So while we're waiting for your questions, I have a question for our guest speaker. So maybe while he's answering those questions, other questions will have popped in. So Mr. Speaker, once again, thank you very much for finding out time out of your busy schedule to give us an insightful presentation as regards UK scholarships. So yeah, so the question I actually want to ask is, do you, in terms of getting scholarships in the United Kingdom, a lot of people are concerned as regards the fact that it's not easy to get. So do you think that is a myth or that is actually true?
Okay. Actually, with my own experience, I don't think that's actually true. That's not actually true. So if you actually have the determination to get a scholarship, you're going to get it. Like I told you before, UK wasn't actually the first country I was applying to. It was actually Australia. And to some people, Australia might be very, very easy. But in my own personal experience, it was very difficult. I wrote to so many universities, so many supervisors, I couldn't get in. And maybe I just applied to maybe UK. Like I wrote maybe like 3 universities and 3 supervisors in just 3. Before you know it, I'm in. So in my own personal experience, it's a myth.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that question. So we have it there. So it's actually a myth from our speakers and from his own personal experience. However, we can also pick from what he has said that it's important for you to just spread your tentacles, because you actually don't know where your research interest is going to align. So every supervisor have their research interest, and also sometimes some could say it's luck, but most times it's just what is yours will definitely find its way to you. So we have a question here from someone say, thank you for the presentation. Could you please tell us how difficult it is to study by self-sponsored in UK and how easy it is to secure side job that can be used in supporting one's study?
Okay. Self-sponsored slots, right?
Yeah, so she meant like how difficult it is to study by self-sponsorship, like if you want to sponsor yourself to pay your school fees by yourself. So that's what is like two questions in one. So the first question is the difficulty level that is associated with self-studies in the United Kingdom, while the second one is actually the possibility and feasibility of you to be able to work to pay for that particular studies. Yeah.
Okay. Now everything I'll be talking about is actually based on my own experience, because I actually have like a cousin who came here on self-sponsored as well. So getting a self-sponsored in the UK is actually very, very easy, very easy. So you can just apply to university, before you know it, you're going to get it. So it's very easy. Now, getting to sustain yourself when you come here actually depends on the location of your university. So for somebody like me, when I left Korea, despite the fact that my scholarship was sponsored, when I left Korea, I don't have that much money with me, but the fact that my university was in London, it was actually easy to get maybe some jobs to cover up in London. So if your university, maybe you need to consider the location of your university. So although London is very expensive to live in, but if you're actually schooling in London, I don't think it will take you that long for you to maybe pay your tuition fee, because you're going to get jobs that are going to cover that. But if you're living in other parts of the UK as well, I don't have much experience about that. I think maybe you should be able to get a job to cover it up. So I don't think that should be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much for the answer to the question. So we still have some couple of questions popping in. But before then, I think I have a very, very serious question to ask. How's the weather in London right now? That's extremely hot here, man.
Actually, it's okay compared to Korea.
All right then. All right. So we have a question. Someone is question from Olajide Suyemi. He said, thank you for the submission. How can one get a transcript? So I guess it's probably asking for, maybe from your experience, do you have any?
Yeah, actually, that's a very tricky part. Like getting transcript in Nigeria, like it's very, very difficult. I faced a lot of difficulties getting this transcript in Nigeria. But the one thing I do is that some universities don't actually give transcripts to individuals. So, but some universities actually do give transcripts to individuals. I think like University of Ilorin, the universities like that, they do give transcripts to individuals. So there are two things you can do. It's actually you go to those universities and let them forward your transcripts to the university you're applying to in the United Kingdom, or get a student copy, maybe from those universities.
Yeah, thank you so much for that answer. So just to buttress his points with regard to student copy, some universities actually give you student copy automatically upon graduation, while some you have to request. But sometimes even you, at the stage of you applying, you probably won't, you can use your student copy and you probably don't need the original transcript until maybe you've already started the application proper. But while you're seeking for your supervisors and all of that, a student copy should suffice. And if that is difficult to get, you can as well walk over to your department, and then you could just tell them to just put all your results, to print all your I think I did that when I was applying for the Commonwealth scholarship through the FSB, right? I was still doing my NYC then, and then it was taking time to get my transcript, and then I just had to go to my department, as my faculty there, and then just print all my annual results from 100 level to 500 level, print all and then scan it as one document, and that's what I actually used to apply for the Commonwealth scholarship then. And interestingly, I actually got the Commonwealth scholarship, but you need a nomination body, like either a university or FSB, that's the Federal Scholarship Board. But I was not nominated by Federal Scholarship Board because I was still doing NYSC, and I don't want to forfeit NYSC for that. So the thing is, you could just try to use that from my personal experience, and it's actually worked. So you could also try to use that. So thank you so much, sir, for the answer. And most people actually don't know about the student copy. So I think you're one of the 4 people that told me about student copy. Then actually just went over to my department to get transcript. Thank you so much, sir. So we have another question. From Ibrahim Ridwan. He said he noticed it is very challenging for working class person to come up with writing essays and being committed to it for scholarship. What's the best way can a working person tailor his or her CVs and essay well? Maybe let me just rephrase the question based on what I understand, and then if the person asking the question is online, if my assumption is wrong, then you can just put a comment down. So I think what this person is trying to ask is that for someone that is in the corporate world, or maybe like a professional, maybe like a software developer or something, and or maybe just a working class person, that it sometimes is difficult for such person to start tailoring their CVs, like in terms of academics, and then to tailor it specifically to the research that they are actually targeting. So this person is now asking, like, do you have maybe the best way, like some tips or tricks that you think can be used to be able to tailor those CV for those kind of category of people?
Oh, okay. So I think maybe might have not made something very clear. Now, with the research and academic scholarship, with the work and research CV that I was talking about the other time, I should have stated that it's more tailored towards the PhD students. So for master students, if you want to come in as a master student, there's no problem in you using your work CV. But if you're coming in as a PhD student, it's very important for you to use your academic CV. And before you can come in as a PhD student, remember that you have already maybe passed through a master stage. You have already submitted a thesis when you were doing masters. So, so you need to tailor that CV to suit your masters and maybe your bachelor's or something like that. So the research you're doing when doing the masters and the research you did when doing your bachelor's. So you have to tailor your CV when doing that as a if you are coming for a PhD scholarship. But if you're coming for a master scholarship, you can actually use your work CV.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for that question. So and for the answer. So it's just to simply put, master's application is generic. So provided your CV is well formatted, and then you have related experiences, and importantly, you have a BSc and definitely you have an undergraduate thesis, so you could just input it and then that's all. But in the absence of that, if it's PhD, then it has to be specific. You expected probably to have research papers. You put the DOI or the titles of those pages, and you could have a block called publications, and then you list your publications. And even if you don't have any, note your thesis is also a publication, or is an article, is a research article, even though it's not yet published. So still put it there. So you understand. So that's just the difference. So we have another question, which is let's see. What are the effects of the new policy pronounced by the Prime Minister on how to secure a scholarship? I was actually expecting this question.
Okay, is it about the families, like bringing family over?
Yeah, I want to believe the question is definitely has to do with the family, because there have been a lot of content on the internet as regards, oh, UK banned this, UK banned that. So I was actually expecting the question. So I assume that it's on the policy on bringing family to, or dependents rather, let's put it that way, dependents to UK. So I want to believe that's what the question is talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that affects master students more. So I think it starts from January next year. So as a master student coming for a master program, I don't think it will be possible for them to bring maybe family over. But if they are coming for a PhD, you can definitely bring your family when coming for a PhD.
Yeah, so thank you, sir, for that question. So I just dropped in the chat box. I'm going to paste an image. I'm not sure it's pastable. If I can paste that, then I'll drop you a link to the there's a link to the link to the publication, to the answer you just gave right now, which states that if you're, okay, I'm reading directly from the gov.ac.uk website right now. So your partner and children dependent may be able to come to the UK or stay longer in the UK. That's if your postgraduate level course starts on or after 1st of January 2024, it must be either a PhD or other doctorate, RQF level 8, or a research-based higher degree. So that's as it is on the gov.ac.uk website, just to buttress the answer that our speaker gave. So I will try to check the link. I just have the screenshots here. So I'll check the link and I'll share it on the chat. So the next question we have here, we have like 5 minutes before the next speaker. So we have a question. Okay, before we proceed with the question, we have answer to our questions. So someone mentioned that we have Promise Anyawu mentioned Mastercard, Chevron, and Gates Cambridge, but I don't think the speaker mentioned Gates Cambridge. So Gates Cambridge.
No, yeah, I didn't mention.
But you didn't mention it. So the question was specific. What were the 3 organizational scholarship bodies that the speaker mentioned? And I think the first person to get it right is Adetunbi Adenike, Chevron, Erasmus, and Commonwealth. Those are the 3 that the speaker actually mentioned. So congratulations, Adetunbi Adenike. If you are here or you are still live, please kindly send in a draft of your CV in any format, whether PDF, XML, Excel, wherever, just a draft and some information about you that we can work with. And then we're going to revamp your CV and send it back to you, the email address which you send it to us. So our technical team, if you are here, please kindly drop us on the email of the NSA KNU so that Adetunbi Adenike can send in a CV for revamp. Thank you. So the next question is, do Chevron scholarship accept English language proficiency certification from varsity, or must be either IELTS or TOEFL? And then also, when is Chevron opening for next cohort?
Okay, actually, Chevron is an organization, it's a government scholarship, so definitely they're going to accept IELTS. So I don't think they're not going to accept like a university proficiency. So they accept IELTS and maybe TOEFL. Yeah, I'm not sure about TOEFL, but I'm sure they accept IELTS. So for their next scholarship, I don't actually know the dates, but for this year, I think this year is done. So for you to get next year's scholarship, I think you need to start the researching now. But for this year, I don't think there's any more Chevron scholarship. Okay, I think it usually starts, the application usually start maybe around October, but I'm not sure. You can just check their sites to be sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for that question. So I think we have just one more question. So is it necessary to have publication before applying? Yeah.
Okay, for a PhD, actually, you don't need to have a publication before applying. What you only need to do is your research proposal must be very, very strong. So if your research proposal is very strong, and maybe your thesis, you're able to put your thesis in your CV to show that this is what you've actually done before, that's very, very okay. So the idea of paper is just to give maybe an edge, but somebody that has a paper that did not write a good research proposal, it's actually not going to get it. For you that have that doesn't have a paper and your research proposal is very, very strong, yeah, you are definitely going to get it.
Okay, yeah, so thank you so much. I can't see any other question here on the chat box. So, and we still have 2 minutes. So if there's still any other question, please kindly drop it in. But in the absence of the question, then I think I'll hand over to the speaker to just give us some final thoughts. And maybe if there's anything you just probably want to chip in from at a conclusion and all of that. So your final thoughts, sir.
Okay, my final thought is just also in my final notes. So don't believe that maybe one scholarship is one country scholarship is harder than the other. It's not. So you just need to put in your best and apply to the scholarship. So the idea of saying maybe scholarship is very difficult than other university scholarship, to me, I think it's a myth. If you put in the effort, you are definitely going to get a place. That's just it.
Okay. Thank you so much for your final thought. And I think while you giving us your final thought, we have Sulaiman Moritala have his hands up. Yes, you want to ask a question. Is that correct, sir? If so, you can ask your question briefly.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes,
Am
you can
I
hear.
audible? Okay. Thank you very much for the wonderful talk. Even though I joined very late, and sorry, I'm also struggling to actually hear what is being discussed. Sorry, my question goes thus. You have talked about securing scholarship for MSc and PhD as well. So please, I'm actually asking about postdoc opportunities. So if it is available in those places that you talked about.
All right.
Okay, like postdoctorate.
Yes.
Yeah, there are actually postdoctorate opportunities, but to get those ones, you need to go like on a job website,
Okay.
like Indeed.com or something like that. So that's where those postdoctorates are actually usually advertised. I think in this country, I think they see a postdoctorate as more of a worker than a student.
Yes.
Yeah, so you just need to go on their job website like Indeed.com. I think you can see maybe that job AC or Amza. What do you call that website again?
Yeah, jobs.ac.uk.
Yeah, you can actually get it as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, Engineer Kolawole Bode. It's nice to see your face, right? And then it's nice to meet you, right? Hoping to meet you soon, right? So
Yeah,
thank you
sure.
so much. So thank you so much for joining. And yeah, you make sure you have a lovely day. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. So going to move to the next speaker. So before we move into the next speaker, you can just take 1 second to just sip water. It's good to drink water, right? So yeah, I just did mine, and we're going to move into the next speaker, which is the speaker is going to be speaking about opportunities here in South Korea. So for those that are just joining us now, thank you so much for joining. If you're watching us live from YouTube, thank you for joining, and you can as well drop your questions on YouTube channel. We can also copy your questions and then we paste it here for our speakers to see and also to answer. So I think someone has his or her hand up for a while now. Promise Anyanwu, please, do you have anything is it related to the last speaker or is it just a mistake? Okay, I think that's it. I'm not saying anything. So, right, we'll move to the next speaker. And our next speaker is Dr. Abdulhameed Owolabi Babatunde. So, who is going to be speaking to us on the varieties of opportunities in South Korea for graduate studies and postdoctoral positions. So, briefly, before I invite our able speaker to this floor, I would like to tell us 1 or 2 things about him. So Dr. Abdulhameed hails from Ajasha-Ikpo, Kwara State, Nigeria, and he holds a BA Bachelor in Engineering and also MSc, both in Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering at University of Ilorin. And after which he proceeded to South Korea, and then he also had another master's degree from Agricultural Civil Engineering in South Korea, that's Kempuk National University. And also he's a PhD, he had his PhD also in Energy and Climate Change from Kempuk National University, South Korea as well. Dr. Abdulhameed is indeed a motivated and a leading clean energy analyst that has a strong passion for decarbonization of energy system using renewable energy technologies and also energy efficiency measures. He has a number of highly impact research articles to his credit, and he is happily married with children. Dr. Abdulhameed is also the pioneer president and the founder of the Nigerian Student Association in Kempuk National University. So the webinars we are having here is as a result, is a cascade result of the selfless and genuine effort that Dr. Professor Abdulhameed has made a couple of years back. And then one of those is the fact that the association has a recruitment committee which are focused on bringing in students, and in recent time we've extended that recruitment to even universities abroad, hence why we are having this webinar series on global scholarship opportunities. So we are grateful for Dr. Abdulhameed for his selflessness, and also for all he has done for the Nigerian students here in South Korea. So Dr. Abdulhameed will be heavily represented by Engr Kola Kareem Yusuf, who is a graduate researcher at Kyokuk National University today because he is unavoidably absent. Yeah, and he sends his greetings to you all. So without further ado, I would like to call in the speaker for today, who is going to speak, give us informations and insights as regards the variety of opportunities that you can find here in South Korea, specifically for graduate studies and postdoctoral position. So I would like to call on Engr Kola Kareem Yusuf to give us a presentation. Thank you so much. Yeah, Engr Kola Kareem Yusuf. Yeah.
So nice to see you again. Thank you so much for the introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll be representing Professor Abdulhameed. He's unavoidably absent. It's a great honor to represent such an individual. He happens to be the pioneer for the NSA KNU community at large. So I'll try to share my screen right away. A minute, please. Okay. Is my screen visible? Okay, yeah. Can you see my screen? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So today I'll be presenting on varieties of opportunities for graduate studies and postdoctoral positions in Korea. My name is Engr Kola Yusuf, as rightly said. I'll just proceed to the next slide. Basically, I'll try as much as possible not to repeat what the first speaker had said, because there are so many germane and so many similar facts, so many similar themes. Probably I'll just skip when I get there. I'll probably just summarize. The contents include why Korea, why would you choose Korea, why would you prefer Korea with respect to other countries for your scholarship placement position or for your study, or probably work here. And then the next theme is the scholarship availability. Is it actually a mirage or is just a reality? And then the third one is the common misconceptions about scholarship, especially from the Nigerian perspective. And then the fourth one is different scholarship pathways that we're just going to explore briefly. And then I'm going to talk about some gimmicks on how to navigate graduate scholarship opportunities in Korea. And after that, we're going to address how to contact potential advisors. This is a very important part of the presentation, and we'll briefly talk about the rudiments of study plan and statement of purpose. And then we are going to address postdoctoral positions and how to go about it. I recall one of the attendees mentioned postdoctoral positions in the UK. Probably at the end of this presentation, you may be convinced to consider postdoctoral positions in South Korea. And I'm just going to wrap it up. So why Korea? Basically, I'll turn on my pointer. If you take a look at this place, basically, South Korea is currently ranked as one of the best countries with quality education and high level of industrialization. We here in Korea, we can definitely boast of the Sky Korea universities. These are 3 top Korean universities that have high reputation globally. They have managed to maintain their rank within the 100 to 200 of best universities globally. This is not to discredit the quality of education and services from other Korean universities as well. And these Sky universities, the abbreviation was obtained from the 3 letters. The first letter from each of the universities. This is the Sky is the Seoul National University, S, and then we have K, which is the Korea University, and then we have the Y, which is the Yosei University. So Sky, these are we call them the top Sky Korea universities. Currently, they uphold 11 to 21st position in Asia generally, according to the QS and World University rankings, and then the number 1 to 3, as rightly said. They have this. Aside these universities, all other Korean universities have friendly international environments. You get to see a lot of foreigners in the school, and the locals too are very, very amiable. And the if you talk about the tuition, when you compare it with other countries, it's relatively affordable. You'll be looking at maybe 3,000 USD, 3,000 USD, 4,000 USD, 5,000 USD up. And when we put it in the context of some other countries, it is really, really low. So why wouldn't you want to try Korea? And then the another point is the significant increase in inbound foreign students. Currently, Korea is lamenting about the dwindling labor force, about the dwindling force too in the academia. We have the experience, and they have the old folks. The number of old folks are actually increasing by the day, as some of the young Koreans have decided not to give birth, not to procreate. So it's really affecting the economy. And so Korea is currently opening our borders for foreigners to come and dwell and procreate, study, and live here in abundance. So if you look at the first chart, it's a growing number of foreign residents. And the growing number of foreign residents in the unit of about 10,000 people, you can see like an upward streak in the number of foreign residents, but preferably students, because most foreign residents constitute students. And then the international students count is really on the rise, as opposed to when it was in 2003. In 2003, it was just 12,314, and now, no, in 2021, based on the data set, we had it was 152,281. That is actually a geometric progression right there. So the Korean government is also reviewing the working visa policy in such a way that is going to generate work-friendly policies for foreigners to come over to study and also to work. And another thing now, the juicy part is that big Korean companies like Samsung, like KakaoTalk, are offering jobs to foreigners as well. They are creating inclusivity in their labor force. So this makes it important to consider Korea for your next study country. So another thing is that the total amount of expenditure on research and development schemes in South Korea from 2010 to 2021 has quadrupled. I think, yeah, has tripled, preferably. If you check from 2010 right here, from 2010 right here, this part, it was about 43.85 trillion South Korean won was invested in research and development. And if you take a look at this 2021 now, you see that it was 102.14 trillion South Korean won was invested in research and development, indicating that there is abundant funding if you can search, if you can navigate it holistically. If you take a look at the second one, that is the gross domestic spending on research and development. Yeah, if you take a look at the graph, most especially Korea invested in 2021. Korea invested about 4.93 of the total percentage of the gross domestic product. That is a huge chunk out of the GDP for just research and development. This surpasses every other country in 2021. Yeah, this surpasses every other country in 2021. The United States inclusive, Japan inclusive, China inclusive. I'm going to provide a copy of this presentation material for you to have, like, if you want to have interaction with the source, because I have embedded hyperlinks here where you can check and interact with the raw data. So now there's a problem with Nigerians with skepticism. A lot of people are really skeptical about scholarship, or probably because of previous experience. Some people say, "Oh, I think it's fake. Oh, I don't think I can just put my money. Those people are just trying to like invite me over for them to probably arrange a place and then earn on my hard earned money or whatever it is. Well, you should know that originality is the essence of true scholarship, according to our Nnamdi Azikiwe. So your creativity is the soul of the true scholar. So you are here to learn the creativity on how to bag a fully funded scholarship. And you must know that genuine scholarship is one of the highest successes in a country. And this is what prides Korea above every other country right now because of the investment in research and development. And then if you don't try it, you might never get to know. So why don't you just try it? It doesn't cost a ton. So, and another manifestation of the availability of scholarship in Korea is the happy family of the NSA KNU that we have, which currently boasts of about 45 members benefiting from different scholarship platforms here in South Korea. So scholarship offers are real when they are navigated and applied for the right way. So I'll rush to basic misconceptions like, oh, in Korea, if you go there, the coursework is always conducted in Korean language. That's not true. Then they say the coursework is mainly in English language. That's also not true. You may get lucky to have like hybrid system where you get to take some coursework in English and then you get to take some coursework in Korean. But in all, it's not going to be Korean all through or probably English all through. And then some people present themselves as if they are extremely poor to land a scholarship position. This also is not really ethical. You just need to understand how to write your study plan and your personal statements, which we're just going to look briefly into in subsequent slides. And some have seen several Korean movies and they say, oh, Korean society is really conservative. So a foreigner cannot make friends easily. That is not true. These people are so amiable and they are very friendly and they are welcoming to foreigners. We participate in several extracurricular activities here, which allow us to integrate into this environment. Then the social lifestyle for those people who love to go social. A lot of people believe that it's a luxury because Koreans work and study for longer hours. That is a fact that Koreans work and study for longer hours. It is entrenched in the DNA. And however, there is always a time for everything. You can always create some time out for your social life. So for the main topic of the day, which is the theme of the day, which are scholarship pathways in Korea, I have been able to identify a few scholarship pathways, which I believe are major scholarships. If you take a look, so they come in different colors. We have the private university scholarships, which have some private universities such as the Yonsei University, Korea University, EHWA Women institution as well. Some of the common scholarship platforms they offer is like the GSIS. The GSIS is tagged as the Yonsei Graduate School of International Studies Scholarship, which offers full or half funding for tuition. It ensures that I think it pays some other benefits as well. It's a very, very robust scheme. If you are lucky to back this particular scholarship, it is estimated to be, I think Yonsei pays up to like maybe 6 million, maybe 6 million, about 6,000 USD thereabouts. So and that is for tuition waiver. And then we have the National University Scholarships, which I currently am benefiting. Yeah, and then it could be like from the KNU, that's the Gyeongbuk National University, or the Seoul National University, or KAIST, or any other national university. So some examples are the King Scholarship. The King Scholarship is the Gyeongbuk National University International Graduate Scholarship, which is just for KNU students as well. And then you could have the SPFF, and then the SPFF is the Seoul National University Presidential Fellowship. This is actually a very robust one as well. It takes care of your funding. It takes care of your tuition as well, and then you get stipend support monthly. Then there are some private companies in Korea that are interested in funding excellent scholars. Some these scholarships could be be added to your existing to your university scholarship as well, in the form of maybe another support. Like they come with like this Samsung, the K Water. I'm familiar with the K Water and the Samsung ODA scholarship. It's a robust one as well. These private companies, they work in partnership with the Korean government to provide this particular platform. So, and then there are some non-governmental associations as well, like the Yes 24, Lee, and One Foundation. There are just innumerable numbers of scholarship here in South Korea. And then the talk of the day, which is the GKS, also known as the KGSP, is a prestigious scholarship that offers mandatory 1-year language program before you are integrated into your study, into your into your research field, or probably if you are in engineering, or if you are in the sciences, maybe you study animal science and you apply for for the GKS, which is a global Korean scholarship. If you apply for you have to take a compulsory 1-year language exam before you can start your study proper. And also we have the NRF, that's the National Research Foundation, which is which is actually the emblem of the Korean government. And there's the Brain Korea. At first, the main concept of the Brain Korea scholarship was instituted for postdoctoral positions, and then in the long run, they probably in the long run they allowed intake of PhDs and masters. We call it the BK21. It started in 21, and I think this should be like the third year or the fourth year. Yeah, the fourth semester, the fifth semester. So, and then there are some other scholarships that offer bilateral opportunities. Maybe the South Korean government has bilateral agreement with Nigeria. As of now, I don't think there is any, but I think I think what is this lady's name? Yeah. So these are special governmental programs. There is the one for Korea Japan government scholarship. Hopefully in the future Nigeria would have something like as this too. So these scholarships come in different colors, and they have their peculiar way of applying for the scholarships. So scholarships in Korea are not just limited to those highlighted here. There are several more scholarships here. So I'll proceed to demonstrate how we can navigate graduate scholarship opportunities in Korea for MSc and PhD. Basically, as the first speaker had rightly said, I'm just going to add a few other things. Like the first thing you need as your application requirement is your determination, because we have heard several cases of visa rejection after fulfilling what we seemingly believe that were necessary. Yeah, after fulfilling all necessary requirements, there had been a case of a brother that got rejected 5 times, but he was never deterred. He was never deterred, and then eventually he is here with us now. So you need your determination. It's not always a smooth journey. It comes with a lot of bends and rough edges, but in the end, if you're determined and prayerful, you definitely bag it. And you require valid international passport, and yeah, you need to also code mail the professor in charge for MSc or PhD, while you must have been following the lab updates. So you need to know how to conduct a possible placement after you must have contacted the proposed advisor, and then you need to prepare your study plan and your personal statement, and recommendation letters from Nigerian supervisors and head of department, which will validate your academic certificates as real. Well, so you need to maintain a very good relationship with your professors at home in Nigeria and your HODs. And then notarization, which is authentication of academic certificates. It's a standard practice in Korea. If you do not authenticate your document, your document will not be verified. by the Ministry of Justice. Yeah, I think the Ministry of Justice is in charge of immigration activities as well too now. So you need to notarize your academic certificate. This requires that you visit the Federal Ministry of Education in Abuja, and then the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, and then the Korean Embassy as well during the application process. If you keep in touch with the NSAKNU, definitely you'll be guided on this routine. It gets really interesting along the way, and then you need to prepare your notarized transcripts and other supporting documents like your CV and other documents that you deem necessary. Then your financial statement, which must be in consonant with the requirement of the Ministry of Justice. There is a standard amount of money that you must have as inflow outflow for you to be verified as a financially buoyant or financially stable person to come to South Korea. So this financial statement forms the integral part of the visa application process. I think you have to submit a financial statement during your application for the admission to the university as well. The university sends your application, your financial statement to the immigration office for verification as well. And then you are meant to conduct a medical test at embassy designated clinics, especially the TB test. It is quite compulsory before you can travel. So, and then you definitely need a visa to get down here. So I think we always use Q Life Family Clinic, and there's another clinic in Abuja. So yeah, if you take a look at all these items, you would see that these items are almost all these items are things you can obtain personally. Determination, yeah, you can get that, but you need to know how to contact a professor, your potential advisor, after you must have tracked his lab activities online. So contacting advisors, you need to know that by sending an email to an advisor, you have to understand that it has to be an official draft. It must be strictly formal, and you need to avoid vague words or social media abbreviations, which are rampant nowadays, like the use of letter U instead of YOU, the use of abbreviations like LOL and all. We need to ensure that we get rid of that habit. And then you need to read recent published articles of the potential advisor. If you have identified potential advisors, you can get the list of faculty on the KNU website. So if you have been able to identify a potential advisor, then you should locate his account on maybe Google Scholar or ResearchGate so that you can read his recent publication. With this, you can really intimate yourself with the activities of the lab, and then you can project. I'm going to show you how you can project ahead. And then after that, from the publication of the professor, you can identify the recommendation part, which is always towards the tail end of the discussion section. If you are quite familiar with reading articles, or you probably might see it probably in the conclusion caption. So if you identify potential recommendations, and then those recommendations will form the crux of your mail to him. Those recommendations are what you're going to offer to the professor. Like, or if the professor says, oh, this particular research requires maybe more sentences with the use of AI, and then when you message the professor, when you mail the professor and indicate your interest, you definitely have to put it like, oh, I'm going to show you how it's done in the next slide. And so you need to be precise and concise. We need to understand that these people are not natural English speakers. So if you come up with so many big grammar, or probably you come up with confusing sentences, complex sentences that are so intricate, yeah, and then you may just end up not getting it. And well, after your at the tail end of your email, you should embed a REPO hyperlink. You can embed, maybe if you have like an archive or a drive, or you have like a GitHub portfolio where you have all your documents and all your details, your profile, then you can just embed the link. It brings more clarity to your email samples, and or you probably just need to attach the relevant clearly scanned documents accordingly. So I have been here I present a copy of an email sample, which I present a template which you may adopt for if you desire. Like when you start with an email, there's definitely the salutation. It is like, dear Professor blah 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 blah. Now, if you find it so difficult to write his name out, probably when you try to translate his name to English and you feel that you did not do justice to that, then this generic expression will suffice. You just copy this and you want to say, okay, so this means hello, professor. This means hello, professor. You can probably just put it in the Nigerian context, like hello, professor, respected professor. And then the next line should be your introduction, which must be like, my name is ABC, and I am a maybe water resources engineer at blah, 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 blah. And then the next thing that follows is your educational level with grades. Oh, I obtained a master's degree in agricultural and biosystems engineering with distinction grade, and also a bachelor degree in blah 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 blah, second class upper division. So, and then after that, then the third sentence will just go straight to your research area. So, and then what you have achieved, that's my research prowess has produced this much paper with this blah 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 achievements. If you're not a research inclined person and you're planning to switch, and then you should talk about your professional projects that you had handled. And then if you go to the next one, those should be just 3 sentences. If you go to the declaration of interest, note that your subject must clearly indicate that you are declaring interest. It could be declaration of interest in the available PhD position, or blah 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 blah, or indication of interest in available PhD position. So for the third paragraph, which is actually a short one, is that you have 3 sentences. You say, oh, professor, this particular professor XYZ's exceptional research profile on ResearchGate or Google Scholar. You put the URL of the professor's account on ResearchGate or Google Scholar. So it motivated me to consider embarking on a cutting-edge doctoral research. If you are opting for doctorate, or probably it's just master, you can just switch it. And then in the field, what the kind of field you're interested in, which actually is this field in a laboratory. So in the field of maybe machine learning design, or maybe anything whatsoever. And then, so I said earlier that you have to read the publication meticulously, like the recent ones. You can just pick like the last 3, which you feel are in alignment with your own research objective. And then I read your publication meticulously, and I found these articles of great interest. Then maybe 2 to 3 articles, and then you have to present the title of the article and then the publication. You understand? So it's gonna give him an impression that you indeed read the paper. And after this, you need to support your claim of reading this thing by bringing instances from the results of the paper. Like maybe you had read about the concept of digital twin, and you just want to like supplement it so that he knows that you have a better understanding of it. You say, oh, the digital twin concept is at its nascent stage, and it offers existing blah 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 for smart water metering. And then so you talk about, then in my own opinion, I feel blah blah blah. In your own opinion, you are actually restating his recommendation. I hope you understand. I told you have to identify the maybe limitation of the project or the recommendation for future work, and then you are going to state that as your opinion. So I am proposing, then you mention the professor's recommendation like this, mention the professor's recommendation in his articles. And also, you should not limit yourself to that particular, or maybe the funding for that particular project had ended. Then you should say, and I'm open to other related applications in your lab. Okay. And if you have written a proposal to this effect, you may offer to share the proposal if you have it. And after that, you proceed to the next line, which is you need to restate your intent. That therefore, I would like to pursue a master degree in your laboratory at PQR University, the location in Korea. Then for what particular semester? You're going to talk about maybe 2024. So your letter of indication of interest is as good as just bagging the whole scholarship itself. Because if the professor gets a very good understanding of your letter of indication of interest, and then he's going to stage an interview with that, if he's convinced about your scholarship, about your inclusion in his lab, then that's it. The moment you get a yes or a thumbs up from the professor, the rest becomes easy. But if you have to go directly to apply, you may. If you have to go directly to apply, then there might be some other people who had already sought out the professor and who had already gained acceptance from the professor. Even if you have the best, even if you have the best grades and you have the best certificates and other supporting documents, the professor may not consider you because these people value their word. Yeah. So these people, they are very honest and they don't mince words. So that's it. You reiterate your intention, and then you tell him when you would love to come in, like maybe starting 2024. Oh my God, excuse me, 2024 spring semester admission. Then I look forward to contributing significantly to your lab. Then best regards, you put your name, and then here at the tail end, you're gonna put maybe like enclosure, like you say. Then you can put your portfolio hyperlink. Maybe you have a link that directs to your drive where you have all your CV, blah blah blah, study plan and all. Or rather, you can just decide to just attach the document herein. So this moves us back to one of the requirements that I stated here as the study plan and the personal statement. So for your study plan, MSc PhD in particular, because for the postdoc, you'll be dealing more with research proposals. Yeah, if you're expected to write a research proposal, if you're urged to write a research proposal by your professor for MSc and PhD, there is still a way about it. It's always sketchy at the beginning. Nobody goes into a PhD or a master's degree having the full knowledge of what he wants to do. It's always very sketchy. Just giving your best and try to just turn up when it's necessary. So for MSc PhD, your study plan will help to direct the development of your PhD, the progress of your master's program. The professor can keep track of it. The university, especially KNU, will request for a study plan. There's a template, there's a format for it actually, that the university will avail to you. Then you start to assess your scholarship, the King Scholarship, and then you may write English language proficiency test to supplement your application. However, it is not compulsory. So I heard now lately some national universities are considering another form of scholarship that would be determined based on the language proficiency. So the study plan also exposes your research goals and the processes. You can formulate them, and then it can define the scope, the research extent. Like at this particular point in time, I'm expected to do this, but at this time, I'm expected to do that. So it shows the schedules of activities that you must highlight by using a Gantt chart. After writing out the theoretical draft, and then at the end, you put a schedule of activities. This schedule is tentative. Nobody's expecting you to give them a fixed or maybe a permanent schedule. They just want to know if you have an idea of what you are proposing to study. So if you use a Gantt chart, you can easily monitor. It's just basic. The Gantt chart is the small icon I have indicated here. So if you have a copy of this, then you can still look at it. And then the study plan is just a professional document, and mostly it's always modified when you start your PhD work or your master's work. You may end up not working on that particular research area. So that is the study plan, and I can Yeah, that is the topic. It might just be just like one page, one page. There are several examples of study plan online. And then the statement of purpose is just like, it's similar to your personal statement. So it's a document that presents your personal motivation. We get to know you from your statement of purpose and why exactly you're applying for the position. And it's kind of like a form of cover letter too, that presents your strengths, your academic and professional merits. For postdoc, there's a cover letter that the postdocs write, yeah, that is similar to the statement of purpose, that indicates how you manage to achieve so many papers in such a short while, or probably what's your research, what's your view generally about maybe your soft skills, your computer proficiency, and maybe how you manage your softwares related to your research. So this is a platform for MSc and PhD. Your personal statement, which is your statement of purpose, for you to, it helps you to showcase your soft skills. Maybe you have good teamwork, which you must have maybe documented, and maybe in previous projects, maybe in some research collaboration activities. Then you should indicate it to, like, oh, I'm a good team manager, blah 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 blah. I have this, I have proper time management. And then the computer proficiency, if you are in the water resources realm, as we work with hydrodynamic models like the ECRAS, so you can indicate what you have done with ECRAS previously. So this applies to STEM and non-STEM intending scholars. So if you, now this, I'll show you just a brief practical guide for navigating graduate scholarship opportunities in Korea for MSc and PhD first. So you can try the study in korea.go.kr right here, .go.kr, to navigate different scholarship openings. It could be national, it could be private, it could be the GKS, it could be the KOICA. So then if you open this website at first, because it's a Korean managed website, and then it's a Korean managed website rather, and then the language is going to be in Korean. Then we need to familiarize ourselves with this particular character right here. Oh, wait a minute. This number 2. So it's called Chang Akim. This is, it means scholarship. And if you go up here, you select language, you can easily switch your language, the Korean language, to English. If you switch to English, then you're going to get to this page. If you switch to English, then you click on this. This becomes scholarship. So then it is K scholarship. If you click on K scholarship, you get to this page right here. This page right here, where it has several kinds of scholarship, several kinds of ongoing scholarships, and the news about maybe the proceedings, about the status. Because if you take a look at the first one here, it shows 2023 GKSG final results, indicating that there is the final result for those people who had applied for the 2023 GKS. This is a PDF file. If you click on it, you can access the list of those people that have been shortlisted for 2023 GKS final result. So you can easily search if you have some query keywords as well, to navigate through different scholarship platforms, different scholarship types that you may desire. So, and yeah, so if you want to access more scholarships, graduate admission scholarships that are ongoing, then you can also try the globalibrain.net. I strongly recommend this one. The first website, which is Study in Korea, will only give you like an overview of the ongoing scholarship. But with this globalibrain.net, and then you can easily check ongoing scholarships in Korea. If you click on the graduate admissions right here, then it opens different thumbnails of different universities that have ongoing scholarship offers. If you click, you can easily navigate. It's pretty user friendly. You can also specify different major classification if you're in engineering, if you're in sciences, and you can you can, this drop down, you can change it to maybe, I think, PhD or MSc. This recruitment has to do with maybe lecturing positions, postdoc positions, because postdoc is actually an employment, not just scholarship. So if you click on that, you move to, you get to this. This shows open graduate opportunities. There are 318, right? If I'm not mistaken, not really. So, but if you check this date posted, you can get you can keep a track of the how the scholarships progress, and these are close 4,000. Okay, I think based on the history of the website. So that is that about that. So I'll try to move to postdoctoral positions now. So basically, for postdocs, for intending postdocs here, we need to understand that there are just two main channels for you to land a postdoctoral position. It is either you get a recommendation after completing a PhD in the same lab, or you just apply directly for postdoc positions. So the first case is always like Jamin, like it's just generic, sorry, it's always generic, because a lot of people will complete their PhD because of several conditions and because of the high investment in research and development by the Korean government. A lot of people would just want to continue with their postdoc. You really need to visit Korea. So however, if you're in the second category, then you have to know how to navigate. I'll show you how to navigate using the same iBrain.net. So then I would like to chip in a thing, one thing that you should, if you click on, if you type in the URL global.ibrain.net, you'll be referred straight to the English website. However, if you just type ibrain.net, it's going to go straight to the Korean website, and then you may need to change the language right here. So the goal of a postdoctoral position is to achieve project objectives and present research outputs in high impact journals, conferences, and seminars. It is contractual, it is contract based. So you have to meet up with the objectives and the goals of the distance. And you could have, yeah, this days now you could have 6 months postdoctoral position, and you can have maybe 1 year postdoctoral position, which is subject to renewal upon maybe positive feedback about your achievement. And then it's purely a formal employment position, and it's currently being guided by the E3 research visa type. If you're currently in Korea and you land a PhD, no, a postdoc position, you may, and you are a D2 visa holder, that's a student visa holder, you will be required to change your visa type to E3 in the long run. And then the minimum salary scale is regulated by the Korean Ministry of Labor. There's a standard minimum salary scale which will be regulated. And Korea changes our policy rapidly, not frequently. So if I quote, I know the exact amount now, but if I quote it, I might be quoting out of context because there are so many rapid changes to policy, especially monetary policies. So the minimum salary scale is regulated by the Korean Ministry of Labor. And then the salary varies with available project funding and is always at the discretion of the professor. So if you have an agreement with the professor, maybe the professor offers you 3 million Korean won, about 3,000 Korean won, 3,000 USD as your salary, take-home salary at the end of the month. If there are more funding projects and you participate, the professor might feel you're entitled to a certain percentage of it. And if you're lucky to become a principal investigator in some certain projects, and then I think that's a huge one. And it comes with a lot of work and a lot of trust, because it takes a lot of energy, a lot of determination, a lot of trust to give out a PI position to a postdoc position. In this wise, I would like to implore several postdoctorals, several postdoctors, or several postdoctoral staff. Yeah, we should call them staff or employees of universities, especially of Nigerian descent, to ensure that they gain the trust of the professor, because there are innumerable opportunities for for a Korean to trust you, he can easily recommend you for several positions as well. So, and yeah, there's also with respect to money too. There's also the pension, maybe the pension package, where if your country has as a kind of bilateral agreement. I know Uganda has a bilateral agreement with Korea with respect to some postdocs, because you'll be representing, if you're from Uganda, you'll be representing Uganda as an employee. So a portion of your monthly earnings, maybe 3 million one, a certain portion, maybe a percentage, is transferred as pension to a certain account, and it is fixed until you're done and you want to vacate or you want to leave Korea. Now, upon your exit, you may decide to just withdraw the money, and there's a few processing that you have to do. You may decide to just withdraw the money, or you probably just go back to Uganda, or probably your wherever it is that you are, and you can easily cash the money. You can get the money as your pension. This is actually an interesting one, because it helps you to like save money for the future. It's speculative. So for the postdoctoral position, you have to go to the same link. That is the globalibrain.net. Here, if you click on global, if you navigate to globalibrain.net, you get to the English URL, and then you can easily click on recruitment. If you click on graduate admission, then you might be seeing PhD and MSc opening positions. So there are several other websites that offer something similar, but in the long run, most of them always refer back to this website. So I would strongly recommend that, so that you don't fall into the hands of scammers. You should probably just use this link. So tested and trusted. So the recruitment exercise, if you click on the recruitment, then you get to see different query options where you can easily search. This is postdoc, professor, would you like to be a lecturer? And you just check different, then major classifications. And then if you don't specify any classification, you just click, then it's just going to work with just one query and bring out a long list of openings, excuse me. So basically, the last time I checked, I think some minutes before this presentation, I wanted to. So when I clicked on, I specified postdoc and I certified engineering, then I clicked on search, it gave this output. I saw a postdoctoral position from Myeongji University. Yeah, Myeongji is a conglomerate. It has several apartments. So I don't know if it is the same Myeongji actually though. So if you take a look at this postdoctoral position offer, it's advertising for a postdoctoral position at the Bell Nanofluidics and Microfluidics Laboratory in Myeongji University in South Korea. And the research interests are electrokinetic, acoustic, and inertia, blah, 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 blah. And then the qualification, definitely you have to have a PhD, and it's not limited to PhD in physics. You can have it in mechanical, biomechanical, electrical, and all. And there's no harm in just trying. If you feel you have a similar, what do you call it, discipline, if you have a similar certificate and then in another discipline, and then you should just give it a shot. There's no harm. So if it works, fine. If it does not, then you learn and then try to consider other things. So if you take a look at all the requirements, you can read through, and if it works for you, then that's fine. Sorry. And official English test scores of TOEFL, IELTS. And if you feel definitely we're from Nigeria, you can easily send a mail to the person, to the advertiser, and indicate a waiver for English proficiency. However, if you have a TOEFL or IELTS, that puts you ahead of other applicants. So and they say must be submitted with the medium of instruction. Yeah. Oh, it's clearly stated that TOEFL is mandatory only if the medium of instruction is not English. So as a Nigerian, you're good to go. So responsibility is right here. And then the offer is open till September 1st, 2023. And then the compensation is clearly stated starting at a minimum of 2.5. This is about 2,500 USD, and it's going to be determined based on your publication and research background and your experience, and also good attitude. Say good attitude goes a long way. The good attitude, if you have good attitude is going to open doors for you. Even if you're not so productive and you are all smiley and you're friendly to people, there will be recommendations, and at times you might get some leniency for that. But in all, we have to be productive as Nigerians and ambassadors of Nigeria in Korea. So if you take a look at then required documents are the cover letter, which I had already talked about. Your cover letter is way different from the MSc PhD cover letter. And then your CV, your recent publications and academic transcripts, and it all should be sent to the person with the subject postdoctoral scholar application. Please, we need to we need to follow instructions. The subject must read postdoctoral scholar application. With this, when the person wants to access all the numerous emails he must have received, it is only just going to query it so that he can mine the data and drag everything and put it in a CSV or probably another document entirely. So with this, there will be ease of access. If you use another subject, it's highly possible that it might miss out. It might just miss out on getting your own submission. So Korea is highly tech, and they don't do things manually mostly. And while you wait, you also skill up, especially for MSc and PhD applicants. While you wait, you must skill up. You need to understand that the technological gap between developed country, not even just Korea, and developing country is really wide, and you don't want to appear as just a dummy or an ignoramus when you eventually arrive, because the expectation will be so high, and because a lot of Nigerians, a lot of pace setters here had already paved the way and they have already set a standard. So when you come in, we really hope that you also join the train. So the most very important item is that you may need to work more hours in Korea. The work-life balance is crazy. There have been instances when scholars, when postdocs work around the clock just to meet deadlines, and then or probably achieve objectives. There are so many, but Korea is just the way it is configured, and is one of the reasons that it's one of the most important things that drive their economy. They work, they keep working, they keep earning, and they keep working. So you need to prepare ahead. Thank you for your attention. I'll see you in Korea soon.
All right. Thank you very much for the very insightful talk, Mr. Speaker. It was really an exciting time with you. And I think your presentation was filled with so much details. Thank you very much once again for standing in for Doctor, and your time with us is highly appreciated. All right, so I think we'll be having about 15 minutes to actually engage the speaker. Of course, you have several questions you might want to ask, and I think our speaker will be ready to actually take the questions. So already I'm seeing a few questions coming in on the chat platform, and I will just get some of the questions so that we can begin to interface with the questions. So please, if you have any questions, you can drop them on the chat, and if you want to speak, you can just signify by raising up your hand so that we can have you. All right, so the first questions that we have is from Mr. Hassan Idris. He says, what is the best time to apply to a Korean university as an international student? What is the best time to apply to a Korean university as an international student? All right, Mr. Speaker, I think you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much, Engineer Solomon. Yeah, actually, there are always two phases of admission in a year. There's the one for spring, and then there's the one for fall. And I think before the admission exercise is always like 3 months before the entrance. So spring entry is around March, yeah, and then the fall entry is around September. So if you want to prepare your admission documents, you can just prepare everything 3 months before the time, or 4 months preferably. So I cannot remember the exact time, but I know there are two different admission times in a year. So if you want to go for spring, oh, let me speak in the Nigerian. If you want to go for spring, March, so you just like count like three months back. Maybe you start preparing your documents from, I think, from November. Then the application or the application notification will be out. So you prepare and then you just apply. So while they process everything, you'll be hopeful that you get admission and then move in March. For September, I think that should be maybe June, July, August, yeah, June, thereabouts, June, July also, if I'm not mistaken, because just like last month or 2 months ago, they started another session. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Just a little bit addition to that. I will share an experience. So someone was actually trying to reach out to a professor, and the person actually has a very good profile. However, as at the time the person was messaging the professor already selected the persons he want to admit in that recruitment circle. Okay, so I think even though you want to target either of the admission circle, I think it doesn't stop you from messaging the professor at any time, because this is, I think, the most important thing about the Korean scholarship. Just like the speaker told us, you should be very cautious with messaging the professor, and you can message the professor at any time. And if the professor gives you consent and you discover that it's going to take a little while, maybe 2 months, 3 months before the admission cycle, I advise you to start working with that professor from that time going forward, okay? Because every professor is looking for work. So if you show your interest for work, I can assure you that that position is going to be secured for you whenever the admission cycle comes in. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Now, we also have another question from Mr. Hassan Idris. He says, do we have to apply for scholarships separately or on the same page with the university? Do we have to apply for scholarships separately or on the same page with the university? All right, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I think your question applies to national scholarship in the form of scholarship for tuition offered by some national universities here. If you eventually get in, if you eventually get admitted, your professor will ensure that you get scholarship. And now you're going to get, it's in two folds. You're going to get scholarship for tuition waiver for your school fees from assuming now from KNU, Kyungpook National University. It is in form of the King Scholarship. Okay, that is just for your tuition. You may get full, you may get half. Okay, and after that, the professor, it's a professorial scholarship. The professor will support you every month with a certain amount as your stipend. It is for your living cost and then maybe survival, or feeding fee and anything you may call it. It's just it's a very small amount, but the professor will ensure that you don't have to worry about financial. You don't have financial worries. So please, do you understand me? For national university scholarships, okay, even inclusive to private university scholarship, you get scholarship for your school fees from the school, and you get stipends from the professor.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I believe that your question has been rightly addressed. All right. Before we go on with the questions, I think it's the time for us to ask our own questions, where the person that gets the answer right has the opportunity for a CV revamp. All right. So at the beginning of the presentation, the speaker made mention of the sky universities in Korea. Okay, it was Sky, S-K-Y. The first person who is able to give us the names of those universities, okay, will have the opportunity for a CV revamp. So you can start worrying with your keyboards. Okay. Now I can see that Mr. Sulaiman from the Google Meet platform has a question. I think you have the floor now. You can ask your question, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for a very captivating lecture. In fact, I was so hooked up. I was so hooked on the lecture that I could not even do any other thing. I had to listen to you till the end. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. As a postdoc potential applicant, I am asking, is there any time, is there any time frame you advise for uh, somebody looking for a postdoc to apply, or that's one. Then also, because I discovered that the GSK scholarship normally comes, there is a particular period, I think in a year, they will tell you it's now open also. So is it also like that for a postdoc? That's one. Then apart from the is it highbrain.net that you advise the applicants to actually be checking for postdoc position? Is there any other one? I did try that that highbrain.net when you were actually speaking. I discovered that it's in Korea. So even though I'm using a phone, so maybe when I get home, I will try my laptop to see if I can navigate it better. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I think some of your concerns are things that were mentioned clearly during the presentation, but I'm sure Mr. Speaker will take the opportunity to reiterate on some of those. All right, Mr. Speaker, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Engineer Sulaiman, if I'm not mistaken. So the first question, you said, is there a certain time for postdoctoral applications? No. Yeah, because each lab runs on its different schedule, especially for postdocs, okay? And postdocs are always available all year round. In fact, at some point when I was researching, I heard that there are more postdoctoral positions than PhDs, in case you don't know. Yeah, because a lot of the professors are interested in results. So if any postdoc guy comes in now, they believe that he's capable. He must have maybe documented it from his profile and all. They must have seen several papers and several conferences attendance. And so it's important to say that there is no fixed time for postdoctoral admission. You can just, in fact, if there is no opening, you can still reach out to the professor as well, indicating your interest. You just drop in your portfolio so that you can just undo that first, and then if he feels it's right, he can easily create a project for you and come in. And then for the iBrain, I've said that if you write global.ibrain.net, you'll be redirected straight to the English English website. But if you type in ibrain.net only, then you'll be redirected to the Korean URL. However, at the top right corner, you will see the language section where you can change it, even while on mobile. So if you take a look at that, I think you'll be able to solve it. I hope I answered your question, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. All right. So, Mr. Hassan Idris, congratulations. The three Sky University in Korea, Seoul University, Korea University, and Yonsei University is correct. So I believe you have the opportunity for a CV revamp. You can send a copy of your CV to the association email that has been provided in the chat, and you will be actually gotten back to. All right, we have a few more questions for the speaker. We have a question from Mr. Olajide Shoyemi. He said, I didn't get some of your highlights. Kindly enlighten us more on this. How necessary and how to go about it. Notarized academic certificate and financial statement. So I believe the person is asking questions on how you can get your certificate notarized and also how you can go about the issue of the required financial documents. All right, Mr. Speaker, you have the floor, sir.
Oh, thank you so much, Doctor. Yeah, on notarization, there is a certain fixed time where you have to do it. If you get it done now, probably you end up not going to Korea. It might just be a waste of time or probably a waste of resources. So if you have applied for the position, and based on the schedule of the admission exercise, the school in charge will give you like a certain time frame for you to notarize and submit those documents. So the procedure is very simple. You're just going to get your original certificate, and you're going to proceed to Federal Ministry of Education. And then I think with yeah. You're going to proceed to Federal Ministry of Education in Abuja, and then after that, they'll do their notarization. You proceed to the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Without the notarization of the Ministry of Education, Foreign Affairs will not attend to your document. And then after you must have done your notarization at the Foreign Affairs, then you proceed to the Korean Embassy. The Korean Embassy will not touch your document until it sees the notarization of the stamp of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Education. So it's pretty simple. It requires that it does not necessarily require that you travel to Abuja, because we have a structure already by the NSA where we can easily facilitate it and have some people do it on your behalf. It is possible. It is strictly for official. So that is that about that. I think, did he ask another question, sir?
So he was also asking about the financial documents, how to get the financial document and those related issues.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just recently, Korea reviewed the issue of the financial document. At some point in time, it was required that each applicant, MSc or PhD, must provide a statement of about 18,000 USD. Yeah, 18,000 USD before. Yeah, and that's during your application process. So before your university can accept your admission can offer the admission certificate, you are required to. But now I heard that it's about 15,000 USD now. So you need to provide a statement, probably from your sponsor, maybe your professor, or probably from a relative who you can actually you can show your level of relationship with, maybe by a certificate or something. And then you have to present that particular statement of about 15,000 USD now, to the university. You send it to the university sends it to the immigration, and then that's that about that. Yeah, so I hope you understand. It's just your bank statement. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think we also have another question from the YouTube page. It's from Rashidat Zibiri. Forgive me if I call the name wrongly. The question says, are there opportunities for medical or health courses like PhD in physiotherapy? Are there opportunities for medical or health courses like PhD in physiotherapy? All right, Mr. Speaker, we can have you, sir.
Thank you so much. I'll speak for my school, Kyungpook National University, and I might speak for some other schools as well, because most of them, especially the science-based universities, there are numerous opportunities. At the Kyungpook National University, we currently boast of 3 campuses, and there's the one in Daegu, and then there's the medical school, and then there's the one in Sangju. Even in the medical school, you can get myriad of opportunities there. So there are a lot of opportunities for physiotherapists. There are a lot of opportunities for medicine. Just call it. Even if you want to dwell into sports as well, you can eventually end up managing their sports, their national sports team as well. So just name it. Korea is the place to be. So there are opportunities. Just have a look at the website, and if you have a particular university of interest, just check the website. Everything is written in clearly. Everything is written boldly, so you don't have to fret. Just come. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I don't know if you have any other questions from the several platforms. All right, I think we have a question coming in from Mr. Hassan Idris. His question is there application fee or is it waived during the application? So what he's asking is most of these Korean universities, do you need to pay an application fee during the application process, or it is waived? It is waived. Thank you. All right, Mr. Speaker, you can go on.
Thank you so much, Dr. Solomon. Oh, I am so grateful to the questioner. Thank you so much, because I missed that out during my presentation. I should have talked about it. Yeah, there is application fee, and to the best of my knowledge, I don't think I've ever met anyone that has his application fee waived in Korea. It's strict business. There is no waiver for application fee. It's always within the tune of 60 USD to like maybe 160 USD. Yeah, these days now for my school, I think it's about 80 USD. That's about 80,000 won, thereabouts. Yeah, given the current economic situation of the country and all. So there is no waiver. You just have to pay. And with the help of Nigerians here, you can easily pay. They pay in Korean won for you, and then you can probably just pay a refund in Naira. So it's pretty easy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this is why you need to have a very good relationship with people, because most times these application fees are actually a bottleneck. But however, if you have a good relationship with people, they can actually help you to actually scale through that process. All right, I think this is going to be the last question for the day before we begin to take some of the closing remark. All right, maybe two more questions and then we're going to be done. This is from Mr. Adeoye Yusuf. Is it a must to have a GRE or a TOEFL? Is it a must to have GRE or TOEFL to get admission in Korea? All right, Mr. Speaker, we can have you, sir.
The GRE is the graduate records examination. It is not required. Yeah, it is not required for admission. And the TOEFL, as citizens of Nigeria, can be waived as well. However, if you wanna add it to your profile with the hope that it might give you additional benefits for consideration, I think it's okay if you can add it as well. So, but however, it is not mandatory, except for this recent surge of English language proficiency scholarships as well. But you don't have to worry so much about TOEFL. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I think this is going to be the last question for the day from Mr. Hassan Idris. Is there a need to be in contact with students in the department before being guaranteed admission in that particular department? In other words, must you know somebody from that lab or from that department before your admission can be guaranteed? All right, we can have you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, there is no such thing. Clearly speaking, there is no such thing. You can come in as a random person, but the most important thing is your relationship with the professor. You don't have to contact any student in the department. However, you may contact your fellow Nigerian for guidance, and then maybe there might be instances where you need to pay your application fee, or probably you need him to advise you on your choice of a department. However, if you have to talk to, I hope I'm not quoting this out of context, though. Like, I mean, like you want to talk to some Koreans, like, oh, can you help me facilitate there's no such thing. In fact, you cannot give tips here in Korea. It is actually a criminal act. You can be sued for that, for giving tips. Like, you want to appreciate someone and, oh, please have this. You cannot do that. So if I'm not quoting you out of context, there is no such thing. However, for guidance and then for some maybe activities, you can contact Nigerians here who will be willing to help you. Your point of contact is the professor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Once again, thank you for your time. I think I'm going to give you maybe just the next 1 minute to give your final words and your final thoughts. You want to encourage someone. I think you have the floor now, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, I want to use this opportunity to thank everyone who have been a part of this webinar series. And I want to use this opportunity to also thank the NSA, KNU, for bringing this platform. It has always been a bed of roses for scholars here, but because we don't lack anything, all thanks to NSA, KNU. And I hope that in your pursuit of scholarship, in your search for the right scholarship, you don't give up, you don't give in to all the frustrations that are currently happening in our country right now. And I hope that you leave Nigeria with style, in grace, and then in abundance, in such a way that when we return back to Nigeria, we'll be happy that we are good ambassadors and we can give back to Nigeria at large. So please do not give up. You should keep pushing. We'll be here to talk, we'll be here to guide, we'll be here to discuss on any potential scholarship opportunity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Engineer Kola Yusuf. Thank you for your presentation. It has been a great moment with you. Now, before we begin to take the closing remark for today, I'd like to remind us that today is just the third session of a 5-session packed program that we are having to sensitize the public about opportunities, specifically for graduate studies abroad. Specifically, we've looked into the USA, we've looked into Japan, we've looked into Australia, and today we had the opportunity to look into the United Kingdom and also South Korea. Now, the 4th session is going to continue tomorrow, and the session is going to start by 6 p.m. Korean time, and that's going to be 10 a.m. Nigerian time. And our first speaker is going to be Dr. Fatai Ayofe, and he's going to be speaking concerning graduate studies and postdoctoral degrees in okay, we are going to be having Dr. Suraj Olawale Kasali is going to be speaking about Germany and France. And then the other speaker, Dr. Fatai, is also going to be speaking about another country which I cannot place my hand on right about now. All right, so we expect to see you tomorrow morning, Nigerian time, 10 a.m., and in the evening, 6 p.m. Korean time. All right, as is our custom, we always like to appreciate our speakers. And in order to help us with the closing remarks tonight, I'd like to welcome one of our own in the person of Dr. Sulaiman. Doctor, you're welcome. You have the floor now, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Oladaji. I want to say a big thank you to the NSA team for bringing this wonderful opportunity. When we came to Korea, we didn't have this kind of information. I mean, it would have been easier if we did, but thank God we're here. It's all about determination. So first, we would like to appreciate our speakers and the NSA, the Nigerian Student Association, would like to give out a certificate of appreciation to our first speaker, in person of Engineer Bode Kolawole. We want to appreciate you for coming for us, and if you're online, can you please say something so we know if you're accepting our appreciation? Mr. Engineer Bode Kolawole, are you there?
I think it's not correctly online.
Okay, I see. Okay, so I'll move to the next person. We also want to appreciate Engineer excuse me, Engineer Kola Kareem Yusuf for your time. Thank you so much. So we are presenting this certificate of appreciation to you as well, and also to the third speaker in person of Engineer Owolabi Abdulhameed, the entire Nigerian State Association. Say a very big thank you to you. We really appreciate the time, your devotion, and your determination to give back to the community. So I hope that this the information shared on this platform has been insightful and empowering. So I wouldn't want us to sleep on it. You can have armful of information, but it's nothing if you don't take action. So it's very important to take actions, start working on those informations, determination, hard work. If you send out mails to professors and you're not getting responses, or you're getting negative responses, don't uh, don't relax, don't be discouraged. Just let it motivate you, be determined. So it's very important. So, and I wish you guys the best of luck in your scholarship applications. So this will conclude the scholarship webinar series for today. I say thank you very much for joining us. See you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sulaiman, for the closing remark. Now, I just like to remind us that our previous sessions that we've had during the course of this webinar are available on our YouTube page. You can go there and listen to them. We've talked about USA, Japan, Australia, and several other countries of choice. Now, the other time I was scrambling to get the country, it's actually Saudi Arabia. So tomorrow, we'll be focusing on opportunities in Saudi Arabia and also opportunities in France and Germany. So ensure you make it a time with us, and we trust that there will be something important and crucial that our speakers will have to actually help you in your journey of getting a scholarship or a position abroad. All right, I think we have to adjourn the meeting here. And we hope to see us all tomorrow by 6 p.m. Korean time and 10 a.m. Nigerian time. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day ahead.